get chat to poem to generate a little poem, right? So prompted let's do a haiku. Let's do a little. Okay, so yeah. Merciless justice without mercy, right? This is big today topic, okay? Merchant of Venice. I actually remember, so today I had like flashbacks. Ooh, my stringy hair. Today I had flashbacks at work, PTSD flashbacks from when I was in jail, specifically when I was walking down the hallway. It was being like I was being moved from one area to another. Just put my hair up like this. And I was just having these flashbacks, man, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had to tell someone about it. And I talked about it a little bit. So, Fuchsia. Okay, never mind. So basically, debt carved into skin, mercy weighs more than the law, blood spared, heart redeemed, right? So yeah. So basically, today, I don't even know how to explain to you guys. I want to summarize what happened today, but basically, I was demeaned, dismissed, verbally reprimanded, and so much by this new exec, you could say, lead, I guess you could say, lead, yeah, lead. And it was honestly beyond me. I mean, the fact that I'm still not crying right now is like probably because of the shock of the whole situation. Like it escalated so quickly, and like they basically told me to go home. Like I almost got fired on the spot. It was really weird. I feel so masculine right now. I'm in like this huge masculine energy, which would stop me from crying. I can tell, and it's just like I'm like the card at the back of the deck is the Empress, so it's like showing like even though I'm in masculine energy, I'm still vibrating in Empress frequency. So it's like I don't still have control over like I never did really have control whether or not I was gonna be seen. Yeah, like that's so weird. Whether or not I was gonna be seen as masculine or feminine energy, even if I'm in a masculine or feminine predominant energy, dominant feminine or dominant masculine energy, doesn't really matter. When I used to be a dominatrix, people would like say like, oh, even though I'm trying to dominate, being dominant energy, masculine energy, assertive energy, that I'm still coming out very soft and gentle and whatever, right? So that's where I got femdom from, right? But like, besides the point, there seems to be this kind of confusion. I don't know what the confusion is, but it's like people can't, I don't know, there's individuals who just can't handle the fact that like I'm a woman who knows what I'm doing or something. I don't know what it is. There's other women out there. Everyone is a woman. Like everyone in the workplace was a woman except for is a woman except for that one lead. And so it's like I don't understand like what it was, but I shit you not. They literally told me like when I tell you to do something, you do it type shit. I was like, what the fuck? Like you got me so fucked up. Like you got me so fucked up, all the way fucked up, all around fucked up. Like if you think that that's how you can approach me and discuss things with me and communicate with me, you got me so fucking twisted. Because the reason I'm in this job is so that I would be in a gentle energy, gentle space, right? The most gentle that I could be in performance, especially as someone who has gone through so much. Like most people there know that I've been through human trafficking. They know that I've been, going through all sorts of child molestation, child rape, child pornography type of situation, right? All sorts of like snuff films, like trying to put me in snuff films and shit like that. Like I've already been through the most, and I'm not going to like all of a sudden back down. Yes, yes, chef sensei, master session. Like I'm not gonna start doing that. I've never done that. I'm never gonna start doing that. Okay, it's never been me. Okay, so I don't know where it is, where it's like supposed to like feel like, oh, they were like, oh yeah, the person in the building had a Michelin star. Okay, but is it your building? Is it your building? Like I don't really give a fuck. You see what I mean? It's like I don't really give a fuck. I'm just finding out that there's only one Michelin star chef that's a woman in the U.S. One like there's one, or sorry, three Michelin chef. One woman who's a chef, who's a 3-star Michelin chef. No one else. So I'm like shit. This has to be easy. Like this has to be easy. Like, do you know how many women aren't even so like don't even know that there's only one woman who's like? How about we get more women with that title? 3 Michelin chefs. I said 3 Michelin star chefs. More women like that. So I'd love to be in that position, to be a leader, to be someone who actually has that. You know what I mean? But that's like beside the point. Apparently, like I don't know what it is. So we're just gonna step into the reading and just see what's going on and like dismiss the energy, because this is some bullshit. It's genuinely some bullshit. What happened today was just so bullshit of all bullshit. Like, and it's like I don't know how to explain to you guys this type of situation, but it's kind of like when I got like punched and shit like that in my face, like same thing, getting mercilessly abused for no reason, mercilessly abused for no reason. And it's like I could tell that my first house energy got like initiated. My first house energy got initiated. So my first house, second house energy is like obviously, what is it again? My first house, second house energy is it Libra? Yeah, it's like Libra, or sorry, Scorpio, Libra, Scorpio, Libra, Aries, Sagittarius. I shit you not. This sounds like a fucking crew of badasses. Literally, it's like all initiated at the same time. So it's like that's all going on in my energy right now. So it's probably why I'm looking like this right now. Right? So I'm like shook about the whole circumstance situation. So I'm just going to do the reading. Yeah, there it is. Narcissistic ass actions. Narcissistic ass energy. I'm trying to see if there's, yeah, no, 10 of swords. Literally 10 of swords all on them. So they can't emanate. It's like a void. They're like a void, like a false teacher, like a void, literally right now. So it's like their energy is so hell-like. It's giving like, yeah. There is the 7 of Cups, right? So they are, let me just pull this card out. What's that energy, Holy Spirit? I'm going to pull this card out, and then I'm going to grab my Eco Tarot. Yeah, libation in reverse, promise in reverse, vow in reverse. So it's like prayer in reverse, religion in reverse. It's an energy of discoordination or uncoordination. This guy literally cuts himself. The guy literally cuts himself. Rushed me from trying to rush doing the broccoli, which I did 70 pounds of fucking broccoli today. I did 70 fucking pounds of broccoli, did it perfectly. There he comes along trying to act like I'm doing it incorrectly, this and that I'm being wasteful, this and that. And then he starts wasting more. I'm putting leaves in the motherfucking thing, just like only ruining everything that I was trying to, like, you know what I mean, do. And then like cuts himself and then gets mad at me for, you know what I'm talking about? You know that, remember I kept on saying like, this is like, it's like a huge fucking problem. Like where it's like that dog that farts and then like looks at you as if you did it. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to say in this situation is like he cuts himself. He's mad as fuck. And now he's taking it out on me. Like, what the fuck? And like, I'm not saying that they should, like anybody else should be taking it out on, but I have a very strong Leo energy placement where it's like a huge motherfucking trap. Like God is just waiting for you to try and take some shit out on me. Like God is just waiting for you to take some shit. If you thought we were patient, God is more patient. That's the reality. God is the creator of patience. God is the creator of temperance. So I don't know what the fuck they thought. God literally made me in a specific section in my realm of existence, make sure that if a motherfucker is mad around me and doesn't recognize my authority, doesn't understand who I am, doesn't know who God is and all that jazz, that he watch with his eye. He watch. and make sure that they fall into that trap. It's like a Venus flytrap. I don't know how else to explain it to you, but it's a Venus flytrap energy. I seem sweet and nice and whatever, right? Everything that I am is all sweet, kind, gentle, and whatever, right? Wait until they fall into that trap. All of a sudden, my dark ancestors, they're not so sweet anymore, right? It's not looking so pretty anymore, right? It's not as kind and whatever, right? Please, yeah, Two of Cups in reverse. So let's tap into this. What's that energy? What's that energy, Holy Spirit? We'll just like surrender the hell out of that. Surrender the hell out of that. The way that when you're like, when there's like a massive earth, it's like the end of the world scenario. You know, the end of the world scenario. Everybody's rushing towards the boat, the submarine, whatever the fuck it is, right? And everybody's just trying to get to safety, right? So they're like, drop everything. Some people are near there dropping their kids, like saying bye. You know what I mean? Some people are leaving their kids to the boat and then staying behind because there's only space for so many, like Titanic type situation, that boat sinking, everything awful, right? So they gotta drop everything out. Only the souls matter in the situation. That's the kind of situation that is occurring. I shit you not. Like everything dropped. Like nothing matters. Nothing matters but what God made matter. That's it. And so that's really what's occurring, right? So yeah, there it is. Rat King persona. The thrives in environments of chaos, distrust, and scarcity. So they're the type of motherfucker, right? They're the type of person, or these are the types of those are the types of individuals who, like, they move in these environments as the Rat King energy, because they see that there's distrust, they see that there's disharmony, you see, and then they act as if that they can look at it here. Fuck it. Attempts to contort circumstances to falsify judgment, right? So sower of discord, indecisive and confused. They literally were talking to someone else, called them my name, and then was like reprimanding me. You know what I'm talking about? It was crazy. They were talking to someone else, facing me, and then said my name. That shit, you know, when it's like a guy who's a cheater. They cheat all the time. So they're in bed, and then what'd you call it? And the girl is like, yes, like, you know what I mean, says the name. And the guy says somebody else's name. That's the kind of energy it was giving. It wasn't giving, like, that's the kind of example that spirit is coming through with. It's not like, but this is like a workplace scenario. You see what I'm saying? It's like, that was not the space nor time nor relevant. It was not it, bro. It was just not it. It was like so crazy. It was so wild. I've quite literally, I couldn't tell you. I'm glitching out. The computer's starting to glitch out. Everything's glitching. So basically, it's like it's oh my gosh, y'all. Like, whoa, like when I tell you this shit was wild, like, it's like, I don't know how else to explain the example for you. It's beyond reality. It's beyond reality. It's like schizophrenia. Like they went schizo. They went schizo. They went fucking schizo. You know, like, I had a schizophrenic ex that I actually ironically mentioned recently, right? I mentioned their name recently, or I mentioned their energy recently, and how they beat me up because they thought that I was doing something to them, but they're schizophrenic. So obviously I'm not doing shit to them. I'm just sitting there. They're beating the fuck out of me. I'm just laying there. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like, what was going on? And they're like telling me to stop, and they're hitting me. It's like, I'm not in control of them, right? Like, I'm not fucking puppeteering them type shit. As much as the sick fantasy of that being fulfilled by someone may seem appealing, it isn't me, and it isn't what I'm really doing. So I don't know where it is that they're, you know what I mean? They're fucking indecisive and confused. They can't fucking figure it out. By the way, all their cuts were so shit. They were so shit. This guy put half the fucking broccoli without even cutting the bottom of it into the whole thing that I basically even called it a sculpture. Like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. Like, literally. Then he said I was wasting time. 4 or 5 of my coworkers said that I was extremely fast and efficient, that I was doing so well. It was so crazy. It was so fucking insane. It was actually fucking insane. Proverbs 6:19, Titus 3:10, Surah 2:191, Manusmriti 4:30, 10 evil acts for speech. So, like I said, I was saying this to someone earlier. I said, I don't know what they're telling you. I don't know what kind of nonsense they're speaking to you. And then they were trying to tell me some shit. And I was like, I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I literally said, I don't want to hear it. And that's when they had like woken up or whatever and realized the situation, the circumstance was like not what they thought at all. It was crazy. Like, that's how motherfuckers will be like, hear them out. No. Do you not know how fucking hallucinations come to be? Do you not know how hypnosis? Motherfuckers will try and use their ignorance against you to make you hypnotized to what the fuck they're trying to say. Was that not fucking clear? Or do we need to go through a hypnosis 101? And do we have to start from 5D again? Like, what the fuck? This shit was crazy. This was insane. I really thought we were farther than this, collective. I really thought we were farther than this. That's their asses. Indecisive and confused. Indecisive and fucking confused, bro. Look, King of Wands in reverse. All the shit is in reverse, bro. So what was the point of all that? What was the point of it? No, because fuck that. What was the point of all of this? What was the point? Informal market. Informal market. They try to hide all the rest of the shit. I don't give a fuck. God said it's informal market. Period. I didn't ask them. That's the thing about these stupid idiots. They always think I'm asking them. That's another thing. He was trying to act like this was not the first time he's been doing this. The guy. This is not the first time they're like, so do you know what you did wrong? Bitch, if I don't, that shit pisses me off. And they know it's rage baiting. They know. So I'm like, did I not do, like, I literally turned into Jesus at that moment. I was like, did I not do this and that and that and that? And they were, yes. I'm like, yeah, because you would respond to Jesus. The fuck? Pussy. Anyways, informal market. Like, just saying, like, what'd you call it? The whole thing about trust. What was it here? Thrives in environments of chaos, distrust, and scarcity. So they were like, they kept on saying I was wasting product. In fact, I literally made sure that there was at least product being wasted. I was the one that made sure there was less product wasted. Let me tell you, let me give you an analogy that'll change, I guess, right? Just because when you eat food and your stomach doesn't fully digest it and you still have proteins and what'd you call it, and good what'd you call it, minerals, and you know what I mean, and a healthy resource, just because you don't digest the corn when you eat it doesn't mean that you then eat the shit that the corn turns into after you've shit it out. Okay, you don't see us, right, eating corn and then being like, well, it's gonna be a waste of corn, and then grabbing the shit off our fucking intestines and reconsuming it. Okay, that's not what we do. All right, so don't get me started on wasting resources. Okay, it's just not what the fuck we do. All right, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck does that have to do with? So here, just because, right, you can cut off the stems of broccoli, no matter how hard it is, right? And what you call it, doesn't mean that you put it all into the same fucking bucket with the leaves, the butt of the end of the fucking broccoli, and all the rest of the jaggered shit. Because that's not what a fucking restaurant does. Like, this is a restaurant. Repulsive. Anyways, I'm this is the whole thing that they wanted to act like. And I know, like, the people, if I really gave the information, if I really went deep, and I am starting to do so now, about the whole circumstance and situation of it all, to the rest of the actual managers, to the actual leads, right, to the actual execs, they would be just as appalled as I am. So it's definitely not the fault of the restaurant. I just want to mention this now. Right? This is not towards the restaurant at all. This is not towards my workspace. This is not towards anything about the workspace or anybody involved in the workspace. Like I said, multiple people complimented me on my speed, efficiency, and so on and so forth. It was literally not the first time they've been doing this. So they literally were like trying to fucking dog face and put my face in my like stuff, which is like kind of retarded, isn't it? I'm apologize for using, but it's kind of dumb, isn't it? It's not dumb. It's like actual like retarded. Like I said, they went fucking schizo. Like it's a genuine, like, it looked like a mental fucking illness. Like it's like trying to grab a dragon head, right? The dragon by the head, and then rub its face in all the treasure that it, like accumulated over millions of years. Like, what do you think you're really doing? So like I'm literally sitting there and he's trying to act like I'm wasting resources. He pulls up his thing and he's like, you wasting resources. And I'm literally like, half this shit there is cuts that are inedible. They're leaves. You want to go ahead and eat leaves instead, Mr. Michelin star wannabe? Then go ahead and make you a motherfucking dish with just the stems and leaves, okay? And leave the rest of us the fuck alone. And don't worry about how we make a dish out of the stems and leaves either. Just stick to your shit and keep eating it. So basically, the pressure for exchange where formal systems are absent. You see what I'm talking about? Because everybody wasn't there. It was just them as the lead. So they knew that it was an informal situation. And they decided to do what? Sow discord and be in a Rat King persona. That shit was so whack. It was so whack. Yeah, that shit was, they guilty as hell. Yeah, somebody else. Yeah. Yeah, they wanted to put their issues on somebody else. That's another thing. That's what I'm catching now. That's what I'm catching, the whole thing now, like one fucking net. The whole thing. It's a big fucking fish catching the shit. And it's that they would literally project their lack of resolve onto everyone else in order to incrementally bypass. You see what I'm saying? So it's like putting it's like hiding a little bit of everything that they were taking for granted, and then putting the responsibility for account to it on everybody else, so that they would seem as if that they had already passed. So it would be so sparse, and the increments would be so small, like a grain of sand, like a grain of salt is what I heard. And it would be like giving everyone a grain of salt, but then giving millions of people a grain of salt. So then it's like a million people are carrying one grain of salt that they now have to take accountability for. Like that grain of salt could melt at any point, right? It could dissolve at any point. But now they're having to take accountability for the grain of salt. And then what? And then the one person doesn't have any salt, isn't being salted, or it doesn't have any salt, right? That gave their fucking pillar away, basically. They gave their pillar of salt away to all these people, all those individuals, so that they would make it seem as if that they were what? Like purified enough, right? To make it seem like they were already pure. to make it seem like they have exhausted their pillar. That's what it is. That the pillar of salt was no more that they had to take account for. Yeah, integrate in reverse. There now all the taxonomy of the situation is being seen. They're basically all their false ideation of what they were assuming was their tactic, right? Which was probably a false mirror of somebody of probably the divine's order, right? Because they wanted to make it seem as if that they thrive in chaos, when in fact that they were causing chaos for others to make it seem as if they were the only ones in divine order. Yeah, Ace of Pentacles with the Two of Cups in reverse with the, yeah, there it is. Sagittarius energy, there it is. The whole fucking lot. And then there I am. Yeah, dropping them. Look at them dropping their asses, dropping the hell out of that. Yeah, because that's what the fuck, yeah, like that's what it is. Like, it's like, it's like I said, the energy is coming out like how a cheater doesn't recognize their girlfriend or their boyfriend and by their name, so they keep on mentioning. But the thing is that it's also creating a really complicated situation scenario, which is why they're so fucking confused, because it's disorderly. It's in disorder. It's disorderly. It's not the right energy, the right time, the right space, the right nothing is correct about the scenario and situation. What is the nothing in the situation and matter? What's the nothing? What's nothing? What's nothing, Holy Spirit, Heavenly Father? What's nothing? So that it was a fragmented market that was supposed to be in. We were supposed to be in a fragmented market, not an informal market, is what it was. And they wanted to represent themselves as if that there was some sort of formality that they were filling up for with trust, as if that we trusted in, or that they were trusted or entrusted. That's what it is. As if that they were entrusted to merit some sort of loyalty. Yeah, as if that they were entrusted with the merit of some sort of loyalty. Yeah. They wanted to literally, it's a lot of bullshit, bro. I'm waiting for it to come out the way that it's supposed to come out. So it's supposed to be a fragmented market that we were in, not an informal market. Yeah. All the markets are literally like, yeah, let's keep going until we find it. A lot of the cards came out. Yeah. They're going to hell and everything. Like the gate. Yeah. It's literally not coming out, bro. Yeah, Sower of Discord. Everything is coming out, but the thing that's supposed to come out, I knew that the gray market was going to come out. Yeah, the gray market, they're being thrown out the gray market because they clearly don't want to reveal themselves or their truth or anything like that, but they're going to be revealed. They're going to be exposed. They're going to be exposed as fuck. They're being exposed as hell. Like super duper exposed. Yeah, the gray market challenge would be for distributing goods outside of official channels. Yeah, so they thought that they were going to, yeah, wow, they thought that they were gonna be, because I was just hearing the most bullshit. I was, when it's enough, it's just enough, enough is enough. Now the FBI is getting involved in shit, bruh. Like double time, like you don't even know who you can trust in the FBI. That shit's crazy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the expanding market, like I thought. Where is it? Oh my god. You see how it's not coming? I'm finding all the cards, but that card. You see what I'm saying? That's how I just know, bro. That's how I know. Like they don't want to be exposed. They don't want to be sad. I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck at this time. Not right now. No. I'm literally, don't worry about it. Don't worry about how I'm doing it. Okay? But I'm doing it. Trust and believe that. Trust and believe that. Look, informal market, they still want to be, they're being thrown out. The informal market, the shadow market, all the markets that they're trying to throw under the bus right now are throwing them out. Yeah, they can't do shit. Like they're being thrown the fuck out, bro. You see how that one popped out? Yeah, the expanding market. This is what it was that they thought that they were initiating. Yeah, I fucking knew it, bro. I don't want to see none of that shit, bro. I don't want to see none of that shit. I don't want to see none of that shit. Man, there's so many fucking, there's the arguments that you guys were talking about. Oh man, now the indecisiveness is hitting, isn't it? It's hitting. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna put it back in the deck. Don't worry. At this point, because look, I'm literally sifting through all the cards. Let me find out it's not even in the deck right now. Let me find out it's not even there. Is it there, Holy Spirit? What was even the market name? Fragmented, Abby. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Bruh, see how we already knew what it is? Let me fucking, you know what? You wanna keep playing with me? You wanna keep going? You wanna keep going? You wanna see how far this can go? Huh? Type shit? Is that what it is? Right next to this. Oh shit! Right next to the Sower of Discord. I'm gonna grab these decks right here. Right next to the Sower, right here. Look at it. Sower of Discord, Money Crazed, okay, and then Fragmented Market, okay. Let's see the pressure for coordination amongst many small players. So they didn't want to admit to being a small fucking player, it seemed. That's what it was. Who said that they were a small player? They might have just not even been a player at all. And it might have just been to coordinate and cooperate with other small players. What if that's what it was? Because that's exactly what the fuck it was. That's the pressure. They had the pressure. Look, informal market. So the pressure is nation amongst many small players. So the pressure is on all the small players. In fact, the pressure is on coordination, pressured coordination, right? That's their main focus. They're meant to be supervising that the pressured coordination was occurring. That's it. They wanted to be a rat king in the informal market, though. They didn't want to be seen as a supervisor of that. It's all like, you don't even get it. Like, it's all coming out like in reverse. Like, they literally were, I don't know what kind of game that they were playing, but they were literally in their own fucking way doing shit that nobody asked them to do. The gray market. Yeah, truth filler persona releases facts in a way that serves personal motifs. Like, they're literally doing everything. You see what I'm saying? They're doing everything. No. But it's been caught, right? So now we get, like I said, I was going to put it back in the deck. Right? Remember I said I was going to put it back in the deck? Yeah, talk. Now let's keep on going. So now, what's coming out? What was the truth about the whole situation? Because we know what wasn't being hidden, right? Which is what they were trying to use to their advantage. Whatever that wasn't being enlightened about. But the enlightenment really is here, where there was supposed to be a fragment with the Empress energy on top of it, right? So here, pressure for equilibrium between supply and demand. They tried to make it seem as if they were maintaining harmony, right? Remember that? But remember where the first thing that came out, though, was that they thrive in chaos, distrust, and so on and so forth, right? Well, that is why. Because they remove removes a person's stability to make them easier to sway. That's what it is that they were trying to do. They were trying to act like they had just manifested. So they were trying to act like a master manifester in some sort of situation. They were trying to take away the power of rendership to renderment. So they wanted to act like renderment was in their hands. They are the god of renderment is what they were trying to make it seem as if, right? Let's look up that word real quick. Yeah, they were trying to make it seem like they were literally the master and god of renderment. They wanted to make it seem like they built the corporation, rose the corporation from scratch, that the corporation couldn't do anything without them, that everybody needed them, that nobody could handle things on their own without them type shit. You see what I'm saying? As if that they were so needed. Like I said, the demand for them was so high, and that it was because that they were so selective with what it is that they were doing, with making it seem as if that they were the only one who could do what it is that they could do, as if that they could, yeah, basically to give back, return, yield. See, that as if that they were the only ones who could yield. Yeah, they were acting like they were the master of rendition, of yielding, as if that they were the master of bringing in results, as if that they were the only ones who could ever bring in results, as if that nobody else could bring in the same type of results that they could, or even better. Yeah, that's what it is. That was the whole thing. Yeah, look, false witness, emerging market. And there you go. There's all the bullshit that they were throwing at me. That is how they were doing it, right? So attempting to disrupt testimony to murder, accuser of innocent to guilt, right? Exodus 20:16, Matthew 19:18, Suda 25:72, Manusmriti 8:30, 356, 10 evil acts, 4 of speech. There's a 4 of speech again, so now you know it's an order. So emerging market, pioneer beneficial offerings. What does it say here? Active result of rendering, a yielding, a return, an offering, or a surrender. There it is, an offering, double time, double confirmation. So they really thought that they were going to be seen as, falsely seen as, by projecting false witnesship, right? That they were going to be seen as if that they were the master yielder, the master result, the master pioneer of a situation. I said that they were the ones that did the best, the most, and everything in between type shit. They probably got pissed. And here's the thing. I don't do this. I don't usually say it like outright like this. I don't usually say it outright like this. But that's because it's a speculative market. I'm not even going to say you already know what it is. It's in your subconscious. Bring it out. Okay? So the pressure for new opportunity within untapped areas, they were trying to act, remember, they were trying to act like as if that this was something that, by the way, this company is already expanding towards Africa, bro. It's expanding towards Africa. So it's been there for a while. This guy's a new guy. He's a new guy. He came in actually after I came in, ironically. So basically, they were trying to act like as if that this was something that was like never been done before. They were trying to act like they were a fucking master innovator up in this bitch. Literally. They were trying to act like they not only pioneered and invented everything that was occurring within the industry, as if that it was as a result of their hard-earned labor and hard work, when it wasn't even earned labor. It was actually stolen labor, obsessive and snared. There they are getting caught being obsessive. So deregulated market and regulated market is here with candle, snuffer, sona in reverse, extinguishing hope or momentum before it can grow. So this was something they failed to do. So it exposed a regulated and deregulated market. So it exposed pressure for compliance with newly imposed standards and pressure for adaptation when regulations are removed. So regulations were removed, right? But it was more so due to the fact that they were trying to make it seem as if it was an informal market. So it wasn't that the regulations were really removed. It was an illusion that was to create a trap. But the reality of the situation is that it was competing with a regulated market that had already been there through the fragmented market that had already been overcome. So clearly I'd already overcome that situation and so many others also overcame it. But then there were some people that were stuck in the past in the situation that were still thinking that it was going to be an informal market for them. So pressure for compliance with newly imposed standards. So now there were new standards that was occurring and everybody was following lead, following discretion. Everybody else was making sure, like I said, I already got complimented multiple times on my own speed and efficiency. So everybody else was picking up their pace. But now they thought that they were in control of the whole situation with thinking that it was an informal market, thinking that they were, as if they successfully had caused people to think that it was some sort of where was it? Deregulated market, as if that it was something that they had to pioneer through because of some sort of regulation that was removed, as if people just needed to fix up their act or get into game or do something. I don't fucking know. Protectionist market, and there's loyalty. So they wanted to make it seem as if that they could enter the protectionist market, right? As if that they had to just protect themselves or defend themselves, or there was something to protect or defend about the situation, when in fact they had actually caused there to be disloyalty in the situation, to act as if that they had been any loyalty to begin with. You see what I'm saying? This was how they would be planning on stealing loyalty. Let me remind you, loyalty also goes hand in hand with royalties. Like I said, I finished cutting over 70 pounds of broccoli today. They came in during the last 20, 30 pounds that they wanted to cut and started fucking it up. You see what I'm saying? So now it's like my royalties aren't being seen, right? That's the disloyalty though, right? So pressure for shielding local industries from foreign competition. You see what I'm saying? So they were trying to act as if that there was going to be any kind of foreign competition. Because why? Because there was already a situation where they were thinking that there was going to be, they got kicked out from it, right? So where it was like, how do I explain this? Where that they thought that there was going to be, what is it called again? Servicing outside of local, or like basically, yeah, servicing, giving goods and services outside of official markets, So they thought they could they thought that they could sneak and hide, basically taking something and producing it elsewhere, right? But they only thought that they could sneak and hide this because that they thought that they were going to receive some sort of support in a situation that they could make seem as if that was to protect their own livelihood, when in fact that's my job right now. So right now, where I would be looking for a new job and everything like that, right? That this would be me if I wasn't who I am, and what I'm, and didn't matter what I was doing, right? So if I wasn't already who I am, for anybody else in that kind of circumstance situation, their livelihood would have been under threat because somebody would have been attempting to steal it. Do you understand? Straight up. Like I said, salt pillar. They were trying to act like their salt pillar had already been extinguished, as if that they actually already dissolved all their salt grains, that they've already taken every grain of salt from that salt pillar, and they had established the understanding of purity within themselves, but they didn't. They attempted to steal it from somebody else, utilizing chaos and all that stuff, which wasn't there. Why? Because everybody already was in the fragmented market that they thought that they had blocked for everybody else, except for the stupid idiots that were literally using them to confuse them. So it's like somebody playing into their agenda just to get them caught up just as much as they were already caught up. So what can I say? Good job. Yeah, there it is. Unmerciful. Demonic. There it is. Blocks others' lifestyle to transfer interest. Now you understand what that means? Attempts to dilute importance of sensitivity and trust. Do you see the grain of salt now? Zechariah 7:9-10. Romans 1:31, Surah 90:14-17, Bhagavad Gita 16:2, 10 evil acts, 3 of mind. And now you know where it was coming from. That fourth speech energy. Chess master persona sees every relationship and event as part of the long game. You see it now? And now they're getting caught. That obsessive snared energy is being, oppressor energy is being reversed with the obsessive energy being reversed, because they're being caught. They're being caught, but it's still coming out. Okay. Think they control vanity and substance. So they think, so let me explain to you what it means when some individuals think that they can control vanity, right? Not only is vanity one of the sins, right? It might not be a deadly sin, but it's very close to pride, which is a deadly sin. So one thing you can't do is look me in my face and say you can control your pride, because if God gave up on pride, right? What makes you think you can control pride? You must think that you're I don't know, Satan. You must think you're Satan. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that Satan is the only one who can control pride or some shit like that, because God forbid that. I'm not going to defend what I just said, right? I am going to say, though, that God casted pride out due to the nature of its own darkness in rebellion. It was never going to stop attempting to steal loyalty. You see what I'm saying? It was never going to stop attempting to corrupt purity. It was never going to do so. The only way that things can work out in this world appropriately in order is with and through purity, with God. So since pride is so opposed to purity, then there is no real control account in the situation. It's all void. It's all dark. So if someone really sits there and thinks that they can control something that is quite literally the opposite of what control could do, then I don't know what you expect, but for them to go fucking insane. And that's why they went so motherfucking schizo. And I'm not saying that God couldn't control pride. Obviously, God controlled the fuck out of pride. You know what I mean? But I'm saying this from a standpoint of human perspective. Okay? So they want to do it all for naught. So it's like it's like goblin energy, big goblin energy. Let me find the characteristic. Yeah, it's big goblin energy. Let me find the characteristics of a goblin. Yeah, you guys are now thinking of like the goblin video. Remember the goblin video? Okay. So known for trickery, greed, and delighting in chaos. Unlike fairies, the tricks often harm than amuse. So basically, that's what it is. Mocking, guttural, harsh, yeah, cunning cleverness. So delighting in chaos. That's what I'm trying to say. The ensnared energy, obsessive energy, is like someone who delights, like they let me try and break this down a little bit better. So pleasure, enjoyment, delight, to give pleasure, right? So allure, charm, and delight. So this is why I look like this. So now it's all returning to me. My allure is returning to me. My delight is returning to me. All my delight is returning to me now. I call forth all my delight and direct it directly to God. All my delight must go to God now. So basically, they were trying to make it seem like they weren't trying to take away the allure of a situation while they were attempting to farm it. So they were attempting to farm allure in order to make seem and assume control over it, and then expressing it in times of chaos, causing distress, which backfired on them. Yeah, now it's being revealed. The whole situation is being revealed now. Yeah, so all of it is being revealed now. And there it is. So this is this would be the full story of the situation. That would be the full story of the situation. So informal market. So where they were supposed to honor agreements, right, to themselves, because that's what they wanted, right? They wanted to be a part of the informal market, right? They actually, yeah, the informal market threw them out. So they are thrown out of that because they even failed their own self. So keeps a person bound to them through shared secrets. They wanted to make it seem as if that there was shared secrets within a scenario or situation, reflects only what others want to see to gain trust. There it is. So they never really had the trust to begin with, but they were assuming that people would just would just believe that there was an informal market while they were assuming that what others would want to see. They were literally assuming what people wanted to see. You know, sometimes when you don't want something, you actually are put in a position of having to experience it in order for you to truly detach. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, when someone is like, when you're like, I don't want to cry, I don't want to cry, I don't want to cry, but then you end up severely and profusely crying. That's kind of what I'm saying. So it's like where they would assume somebody doesn't want to see something. So like if you don't want to see someone, like let's say, okay, for example, if they, so they probably, here's what I'm just getting from this is to conclude the whole situation to make it very frank and clear. They in this scenario would have thought that I didn't want to see them get along with one of the other snakes in the situation, one of the other snakes other than themselves in a situation, and then thought maliciously to now present the situation as if that's just what I desperately needed. You see what I'm talking about now? That energy of attempting to make it seem like that's dominance when it's actually oppression to force compliance. And that's what I'm talking about. Is when you're saying no and a guy or a motherfucker or a bitch thinks that like that means yes. That's the confusion. Like you just desperately need it or you just desperately want it, but you're too shy and you have to say no or some shit like that. Is dumb. Some rapist shit right there. So leash holder persona in reverse, it failed. Yeah, state controlled market, it failed. Speculative market, it failed. Signal interpreter persona, it failed. And then anchor dropper persona, it failed. Yeah, web gate persona, there it is, the web energy. Assuming control over entry and exit points of the network. So they thought that if they could have, like fucking Scooby-Doo shit, I could have gotten away with it if it wasn't you meddling kids type shit. So it's like they really thought that they could make it seem as if that there was an informal market within a circumstance that they were just trying to pioneer through, when in reality what they were really looking for was a way to make seem as if that they had more control and substance within the situation. Now you see what I mean by things that they control vanity and substance. So now vanity within the situation would be the allure that they thought that was for them, as if that they could delight in the chaos in order to now make seem as if that they could control substance, which is what they thought that they were going to be using for manifesting and manifestation. That is not how you manifest. It is not how you work. In fact, they started talking about quantum physics and shit. I'm like, I don't know what kind of demons y'all are fucking talking to and are talking to y'all, but this shit is crazy. Let me tell you something. Whenever you talk about something within your, by the way, if you talk about something with God privately in your head, just because God says it's not the best thing to do to pray within yourself, that you must pray out loud, right? Doesn't mean that God will now share your secrets and your intimacy with other individuals or demons or whatever the fuck it is, as if to teach you now a lesson. That's not how God works. God is merciful. God, Allah is most merciful. That's just not what God does. That's how I know that these motherfuckers have been triggering occurring events or situations and scenarios to where that they would actually be under some sort of possession, right? Third dimensional energy, matrix energy. I knew that some sort of matrix that they were playing in. You see what I mean? That's why I said I don't know what kind of game they were playing, but it was some sort of matrix of reality that they were living in. Wind caller persona in reverse, it failed. Adulteress energy, it failed. So now false navigator is there, gives directions that lead away from truth or success. You see what I'm saying now? And that's the reality of the situation that was occurring. So they didn't want to be actually exposed as someone who gives direction in order to lead away from truth or success. And that way that they were trying to lead away from truth or success. So wherever anybody landed that was away from their truth or their success, they wanted to establish an underground market. And then they wanted to make others present other false underground markets in order for them to false witness it in order to act as if that their underground market that they had now stolen from somebody else who had then been there to manifest it away from their truth and success had been given as if it had been granted to them. You see what I'm talking about now? So it's like they think that they created some sort of underground market to where in other people's place that they led away from truth and success, when in reality the situation, that whole situation failed, right? So remember the protectionist market. What is it here? What is the noble energy here? Protection. You see what I'm saying now? So the whole thing is to make seem as if that they're only doing this to what you call it, for survival, to build up survival. Like I said, it's a life or death situation now, right? Because the whole situation had to do with upholding trust that they didn't even have. First of all, it was trust that they didn't even have, right? So they didn't have trust. They didn't have the informal market. They didn't have the gray market. They didn't have the emerging market. They didn't have the protectionist market. They didn't have any of the markets. And the one market that they were supposed to be supervising, they didn't even know existed. So pressure for supplying restricted goods. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if there's some sort of back end dealer or some shit, or they were dealing in the job or something like that. I don't know if they were acting like they were giving some sort of super motherfucking secret advice to everyone or some shit like that, and that people weren't allowed to use that advice outside of the job itself or some shit like that. And that's probably what it is. But that's what it is. You see what I'm saying? That's what it is. So this can be like used in multiple now dimensions. Now that's the matrix that they were playing in. Now you guys understand the matrix that they were playing in. They were playing in some sort of inside out kind of dealing type of situations on some, you can't tell anybody about this. Keep it here. Anything that happens here type situation. Like that's what it is. Yeah, selfish. That's how the hell gate that opened for them. So Proverbs 28:25, Philippians 2:3, Surah 108, right? 108. Bhagavad Gita 16:21, 10 evil acts, confusion, vile list, 3 of mind. There's a 3 of mind energy again. So projects expense to falsify dilution of interest. You see what I mean? So attempts to deflect intensity, abuses all servicehood. And now that's what it is that they can't do that though. They're not really good at doing that part. So now the intensity is actually increasing because they put fuel to the fire. Yeah, basically false navigator. And then there's the shadow the shadow lantern in reverse. So that's being exposed. The contracting market that we were all supposed to remember, the contracting market where I was mentioning 7, 8 dimensions. See how they were trying to drag me down? They're being kicked out. They're being actually blocked. They're being banned from the contracting market. So 7, 8 dimension, they're being banned from it. So they can't rise any higher than maybe 5th dimension if they can't get into the 5th dimension from the 3D, which they probably can't because it's closed. It's been closed since like 2022, right? Yeah, since 2022, the 5th dimensional market, like 5th dimension has been closed for new entry. Literally. So yeah, thief, there they are. So they're being seen as a thief. Exodus 20:15, right? Ephesians 4:28, Surah 5:38, Manusmriti 8:332, 332, 10 evil acts, second body evil, and there you go. Assumes guardianship of darkness, pretends life is too hard, and there it is. So now, gossiper in reverse, they're being caught for attempting to gossip, attempting to do stuff, right? Because I was like, no, you can't start telling. And then he was like, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to, and I was like, oh, fuck that, and I left. Literally. I was like, no way, because they were talking to one of my other coworkers that they were also supposed to supervise over, as if that they were, you know what I mean? As if that they were the manager. It was crazy, literally. So they really wanted to drop the gauntlet on them, and I protected them and shielded them because they didn't have anything to do with the situation. They were already in hell and hot water about a situation, and I already gave them advice to stay strong. So pressure for scaling with increasing demand, right? This is what they wanted. They wanted the expanding market. This is the thing about Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius energy is already the energy of expansion. But if you don't know yourself, and you don't know your power, and you don't know who you are, and you don't know your energy, and you don't know what the Sagittarius energy is. Remember when I said Sagittarius was one of the energies that got activated in my energy, right? In my chart, right? And if you don't know what that is for yourself, then that's where all the fuck shit comes in, where people's demons get triggered and shit like that. So they wanted to enforce vitality. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't just that they wanted me to it wasn't just that they, let's say, on a subconscious level, it's not just that they wanted to make sure I wasn't expending, you see what I mean, the broccoli and wasting resources, is that they wanted to make it seem that they were the supplier of the energy that made broccoli exist. You see what I mean? It's that fucking schizo, bro. It's that schizo. It's not on some lie like fly shit, on some surface level shit. No, it's that fucking schizo. Like, see, growing responsibly. You see what I mean? Market share. They wanted to make it seem like pressured scaling, right, which would be 6-dimensional energy, was in their hand. Like they could control the 6th dimension, which is, we just finished discussing how like temperamental the 6th dimension can be. That's the word. We just finished discussing how temperamental the 6th dimension can really be. You saw that, Nat? We just finished discussing that, which is why there are certain things that I feel like I can't say or shouldn't say, or it's not wise to say, or where I can say it sometimes, but not after waiting a couple seconds. You know what I mean? It's very temperamental, right? And so that's where that's coming through as. Oh my gosh, it's just so much bullshit, bro. It's so much bullshit. Yeah, and there it is, the liar energy, because now they're being seen as a liar because they attempted to gossip, obsessed over destruction of others, right? Denies reality beyond relief. So even if there could have been a relief within a situation, even though there is relief within a situation, they want to act like for me, like getting to leave there was like, okay, fine, I'm out. Like I've done so much work, right? Of course I could have done more, but I've worked shorter days, and like there's no way that you're gonna make me feel bad for what you are making me like do for myself. Like you're not really making me do it for myself. I'm doing it for myself, and I know you're trying to take that away from me. You see what I mean? It's like live it like trying to take away all the options that could have been presented within a situation to make it seem as if there's only so much that you could have done within a situation, right? In order to limit. So they were trying to limit through lies, right? And that's how they were denying reality, to act as if that they could limit, especially through lies. So Leviticus 19:11, Colossians 3:9, Suda 22:30, Manusmriti 4:138, 10 evil acts, 4 speech. Yeah. So hand switcher persona, mass collector persona, lash persona. So yeah, pressure for scale. It's still coming out. So harvest thief persona takes credit for others' hard-earned, what you call it, results. Now you guys are hearing a little bit more of the story coming through. So path blocker persona, now you understand what was going on. Closes off opportunity to force others down a chosen route. You see what I'm saying? So makes critical decisions in secrecy without input from those affected. So that's what they've been doing as well. I remember mentioning too, I was like, I don't know why the gloves seem bigger. Like these, I was like, this is a medium size, and the one I'm wearing on this hand is a small size, but I took it from the same thing. I was like, I took it from the same box. I'm like, I don't know what that's about. And then they were like, that's a decision you can solve yourself. Just go there and grab a new glove. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem isn't that I can't do that. The problem isn't that I can't go get a new fucking glove. The problem is someone keeps on planting false gloves into the wrong glove. But I thought this was a mise en place. I thought all the shit that you were telling me mise en place or whatever the fuck. Now we're not mise en placing all of a sudden. The fuck? You see what I mean? All of a sudden that don't matter. Defrauder. All of a sudden that don't matter. Right? Bows to evil and dies with it. Hellseeker. Well, they found it. They found the hell that they were seeking. Now they can't get out. Obsessed with corruption. There you go. Leviticus 19:35-36. Remember when I said the FBI is going to be involved now? Yeah. As soon as you mention anything about someone being obsessed with corruption and the energy of defrauding, all of a sudden the FBI is like running around. Why? Leviticus 19:35 through 36, James 5:4, Surah 83, 1 through 3, Manusmriti 8, 163, 10 evil acts, 4 of speech. I mean, whoa. Yeah, 4 of speech. There's the 4 of speech now. Again, back to 4 of speech. So we know that 3 of mind is going to come out, right? So here's 4 of speech again. That was the again, right? Thieves, grace, solitude, hospitality, justice, trust, hope, and honesty, right? Flatterer, copycat, uses false kindness to receive. So Proverbs 29:5, Romans 16:18, Surah 63, 1 through 4, Manusmriti 4, 138, 10 evil acts, 4 of speech. So this is where they try to make it seem as if that they are thinking in a kind retrospect from a kind optic, and now that's going in reverse. So it's like they were trying to make it seem as if that they had some sort of perspective that was of kindness when they are unmerciful. So now it's being exposed how unmerciful they really are. Like, they're the type of person to go, well, she's autistic, right? Oh, that's my, like, this is the same shit where my parent would have been like, oh, she's just working really hard in school, that's why she's tired. Meanwhile, she just sent 4 rapists to try and get me. That's what I'm trying to say. And I dodged all of them. Right there it is. Dun, 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 dun. Fragmented market. In reverse, they've been thrown out. The fragmented market doesn't want to be involved, is what it is. They've been thrown out the fragmented market, yeah, because the main thing about it here is unity. There was no sort of unity within the situation. Like, there was no sort of unity, or was there? Actually, in the email that I actually sent my managers and bosses, they can see very clearly that there is unity, right? So that's being very frank and clear about the situation. So now what is that? What does that merit for? Cooperation. Then the informal market was supposed to happen next. That's the order. But they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to wait. They didn't want to wait for the order to come through. They didn't want to enforce unification. You see how they're trying to steal the allure now? They're trying to take the allure. Something changed. Did you notice? Did you notice? So, pressure for coordination amongst many small players. They were trying to take away the allure, the enjoyment within unity that would allow for an informal market to exist. An informal market where there could have been newly enforced innovation would come. Innovation would literally be attracted, right? So they were trying to play this game where they wanted to act like they were the most innovative, most creative, da 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 da. Meanwhile, they were trying to steal that from me and other people there. They were trying to like suck it all up. So basically, it's to build bridges. But to build the bridge is to build the bridge towards the informal market and towards the other markets. So if we see it in the term of tree of life, which we could with a fragmented market, right? It's like literally building branches, right? Building branches, franchises. You see, now you can literally like now the pressure to supply goods outside of the official channel makes sense, right? Because there are other branches of that same corporation, of the same market that would allow for that, right? It would be more like a representation, but that's not how they saw it. They didn't want to see it through the legal, most justified, unified, merciful route. No, they wanted to do whatever the fuck they were trying to do and act like it was what it's supposed to be. That's like false prophesying, right? Yeah, that's like a false prophet energy, false teacher energy, false witness energy. Yeah, God really doesn't like that. It's like trying to make things look bad for everybody else and trying to make it seem as if what they're doing is is how it's supposed to be. Motherfucking the broccoli was falling off the branches. It was falling off the branch type shit. Shit was ragged. There was a whole thing of broccoli at some point that I pulled out and I was like, chef, like, are you okay? Then he cut himself. I'm like, you're supposed to, what the fuck's going on? Right? Whereas me, the whole time, I'm paying attention. I'm making sure everything is smooth. Everybody's paying attention. We're all good. We're all chilling. But they're talking to the motherfucking snake, doing la la land with the motherfucking snake. All of a sudden, everything is going wrong with them. And then all of a sudden, they want to lash out on me. Yeah, because that's new. Right? It ain't ever happened before. First time I'd ever been fucking falsely accused, thrown into some fucking weird ass fucking loophole, right? The fuck? Shit is weird. Now you guys know the importance of the fragmented market. Right there. So I'm just gonna turn these cards right up, okay? Right side up really quickly to like reset the deck and everything, because that shit's over. Now that you guys know the full story and the whole full story has been revealed and exposed and whatever. Yeah, because this shit was so fucking crazy, so confused. And I knew something was off kilter. I fucking knew something was off kilter. Today, all day today, all the messages are in reverse. Like if it's about a Sagittarius, somehow they would say Gemini. If it was about a Capricorn, suddenly they would be talking about Cancer. If it was literally everything was in fucking reverse. It was crazy. I was like, what the hell? Like, see, Capricorn and Cancer is in reverse. Like, what the hell? That shit is crazy. I don't know what it is. It's probably because my North Node goes through Sagittarius. You know what I mean? So like, it's like a table. Like, you know what I mean? And for them to think that the only one upright and all that stuff is like my spirit guides and like God. God is just like very much leveled in the situation. Very much, especially since I can see the Empress upright energy. So I know for a fact that like, yeah, they could never trick me with that. They could just never trick me with that. That's too old to be tricked by. It's just too old to be tricked by, right? So let's see what the reading really is about. Let's see what this is really about. Welcome to Old School. Since we want to start from the get-go, from the beginning, right? We want to start from the beginning, right? We want to start from 5. All right, let me show you what quantum boosting is real quick, okay? I'm going to show you what quantum boosting is real quick, because we'll start with the general energy. What's the general energy for the collective, Holy Spirit? What is the general energy for the collective, Holy Spirit, Heavenly Father? What is the general energy? What is the general energy, please? Thank you, God. It is the Queen of Pentacles, you guys. The Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is general collective energy, hardworking, astute, discerning, powerful. We have a card coming out here. What is this card? The Truth. It's the Truth, okay? So the truth is in the collective energy, in the collective consciousness, and that means it's the Christ consciousness collective. So Christ is moving along the way. The sword of truth, the nothing but the truth. Who's in the way? There it is. Knight of Cups. What's the Knight of Cups in reverse? Why is the Knight of Cups in reverse getting in the way of Christ consciousness collective? Empress. They don't know what to do. It's indecisive. Look at this. They don't know what to do. They think that they have the ability and power to take on the Empress's energy and then take on the Judgment energy and decide to do whatever they will with it. They think the Judgment and the Empress is controlled by their will. Ta-da! So collective, they think that the nurturing vitality of the human nature and God and source God and the frequency of the angels is controlled by their willpower and their side alone. That's some narcissistic motherfucker, you know, the motherfucker that says I am God. God forbid, I never said that, but that's what I'm trying to say. Is that what they were saying, right? Forgive me, Lord, right? But that is what I am saying is what I'm quoting, right? I am only quoting what I had just said, that they had said, I am God. And that is a quote in quotations, okay? So they had assumed like they're the type of motherfuckers that like God, Jesus Christ told them ye are gods, and these motherfuckers don't know how to read. So you know what I mean? That's the energy in great in reverse, right? But they can't use that as an excuse anymore. So there it is. 9 of Pentacles to the Princess of Pentacles in reverse. That's what it is that they were using to try and form weapons against us. So no weapon formed against us shall prosper. So 9 of Pentacles in reverse, and we're on to the 6th and 7th dimension. So there it is, right there. 9 and so they thought they had control over the whereabouts of the Empress and Judgment. They thought they had control over the whereabouts of the Empress and Judgment, as if that they could control where there would be judgment and where there would be vitality, fertility, and so on and so forth, forward movement, action, orientation, so on and so forth. Yeah, they're dying. Their discernment is dead. That's it. Their discernment has now gone to God. Their discernment has now gone to God. That's it. People are now noticing how they are absolutely undiscerning. Yep. They are undiscerning, and we are all moving on, collective. And there's the Eight of Pentacles, back onto 6, 7, and now 8. Now we're in the 8th dimensional energy, as we were in before. Or, well, as you guys didn't realize that we were in before we started this reading. So 7, 8 energy, right? Remember I said 7, 8 energy? We're bouncing back and forth between 7 and 8, building the bridge and everything like that, right? So that's what's going on. And yeah, and they're being seen as a thief who was attempting to steal allure away from delight. So they were trying to make it seem like yeah, they were I couldn't make it up, right? It's like, you should know how to plate a dish as someone who is, you know what I mean, in a restaurant type shit, especially if you were busy bragging about how you were working in a Michelin star restaurant, shit like that, right? You should know how to plate a dish. So they were trying to, so when I was like, this is not a way that I would plate a dish. Like, especially I wouldn't really, you know what I mean? If this was my plate and I saw, I would throw it away. Like, that's not what I would do, because I would generally do that. And I rarely throw food away like that, but recently it's been seeming that way, right? Because it's like, the way that it's cut so haphazard is like they don't give a fuck. And this is not a place where you're not supposed to give a fuck about your people. This is a place where you cook for everyone. You don't cook to increase in ranking. It's like the what you call it, thing I just watched, the K drama I just watched. It's not, it's what is it called again? The K drama I just watched is about Lovers in the Red Sky, right? Which I got thoughts about. Anything that, like, I got thoughts about, obviously. So Lovers in the Red Sky. So, but basically it's like that. And so I got thoughts about it. Okay, so basically, yeah, tower. They're going through a tower because they're being stopped. Yeah, they're being stopped. They can't get past the 4th dimension. Yeah, but they're looking at individuals who are already in the, so they're looking at collective. So collective, here's the news. You're in the 8th dimension, collective. You've ascended towards the 8th dimension, and you're being witnessed in the 8th dimension. So people who, what you call it, their false witnessing has to do with the fact that they cannot compare where they are at to where you are at, collective. Literally, they can't compare where they are at to where you are at. The reality of the situation is that they see you moving forward, collective. They see you ascending. They see your glory. They see God's glory within you. And now it's shining. It's emanating. They can see the eminence of God's glory. But they don't understand how you've been able to, how you're capable. Yeah. But they're confused about your ability to emanate God's glory, collective. Yeah. So that's where the confusion is. So we're dispersing it, and that's what it is that they were trying to take away. They were trying to take away the power of dispersion. You see? You saw something, right? Something's changed, right? Okay. So, a scattering, dispersing, to spread about, apart, to strew, scatter, sprinkle, right? They were trying to abuse the power of dispersion. Yes. So a scattering. Remember when I said what happens and then the FBI, right? The scattering. So now it's all halted. Diffusion. Diffusion is what it is. Diffusion. Fusion, diffusion. So let's look up diffusion. Now you understand, right? So a pouring out, right? To melt, right? A pouring forth, a spreading. So remember when okay, so you probably don't remember this collective because I don't know if you were there or not, but you probably were there. But widespread dissemination, right? Dissemination, widespread dissemination. Geez, that sounds threatening, but we'll see. So basically, it only sounds that way because it seems scarier than it is. The same way that when we give ourselves to Christ, when we give ourselves to the Lord Jesus Christ, whenever we, pour out to God, and we literally give all to God, where it might seem intimidating, and that's what it is. They wanted to overlap who they are and who they've always been with intimidation. They wanted people to be intimidated. You see how autistic I am? I could have as easily just said, oh yeah, they wanted me to be intimidated by them. But how would I have known that? I don't know that. I literally had to do the math. I literally had to do the math. I'm not the type of person to be intimidated by anything or anyone. Like, my intimidation all goes to God. The only one who intimidates me is God. There you go. They wanted the power to force people. They wanted the force of timidity. In their grasp. They wanted to be a master of timidity. Yes. Yep. They wanted to master a variant of, basically. They wanted to empower themselves by discriminating against others, by forcing them to be timid. So they wanted people to lack boldness in a situation, which is that Leo energy I was telling you about. And there's just no way. There's just no way. Yeah, see? Leo energy. There it is. Now it's upright. Now it's all in balance. Yeah, literally. And there's the Wheel of Fortune, right? Yeah, and then there it is. I don't know what, but there it is. Okay, so 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, so that's what it is that they were trying to take away. They were trying to take away boldness in a situation. I don't know why there's such enemies against boldness. That's what it is. They're enemies of boldness. And now boldness is ascending and going directly to God. Yep. They're enemies of boldness. They refuse to accept the fact that they themselves are fearful. And they want to project onto others their fears in order to falsify, and cover up their own intimidation. So now the pressure is on their accuracy. Yeah, the pressure is on their accuracy. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Because it's being revealed. Yeah, because gentleness is being revealed as also being somewhat bold as well. Yeah. Because gentleness is being revealed as somewhat bold as well. I want to really explain this power, a paradoxical power of both gentle boldness, femdom energy, gentle boldness, right? Gentle femdom, quite literally. So it's like gentle boldness. So here we go. So how gentle boldness aligns. Boldness, stepping forward with confidence, daring to act. Gentleness, doing so without aggression, harshness, or harm. Putting together gentle boldness means acting with strength and conviction. There it is. But in a way that nurtures, heals, or respects. It's the power to move without destruction. Courage softened by compassion. Stream versus a river. A small stream gently carves its way through the soil, persistent but quiet. A river reshapes valleys and nurtures entire landscapes. This boldness expressed gently, soft flow, yet with the power to transform. Waves on a shore. Gentle waves lap against rocks with rhythmic persistence. Over centuries, they wear down cliffs, smoothing stone into sand. Like gentle boldness, not violent, yet unstoppable in its effect. Warm rainfall. Rainfall falls softly, each drop delicate, yet together, rain fills rivers, feeds crops, and sustains life. The boldness is in its sheer endurance and necessity. The gentleness is in its delivery. Gentle boldness is water's paradox, soft enough to touch, strong enough to shape worlds. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is that they didn't like. They don't like, I don't know, they don't like me. But I don't give a fuck. They don't have to like me. I still exist and I will always exist. Inshallah. Bismillah. With God's grace. By God's grace. By God alone. But that's the reality of the situation. Yeah, judgment in reverse. Yeah, there it is. They're being caught money hungry. They're being caught money hungry. Yeah, attempting to covert false strategies through false analysis and all that jazz. Confused as hell. Yeah. And they literally, it's like they thought they were sending me away as if that I was timid, shy, and like being sent away because I'm small, right? Because I'm small. Right? They thought I was being like, you know what I mean? Dismissed or whatever. But me, my Queen of Swords energy took the whole journey with me. The whole paradigm of the existence, of the meaning, of the whole point and purpose, of the whole situation I done took with me is going directly to God now. That whole company could really be pointless now. The only one who's gonna be able to uphold it is if the situation is resolved. And only God can do that. So, what now? They wanted to make a bet and put the whole company on the line type situation. They wanted to make a bet and put the whole company on the line as if that they held a market share. The cycle is complete. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there it is, death. Yeah, now people are remembering what I've seen, what I went through, all the things that even the camera, what the cameras caught. Like all that stuff. Look. The strength is walking away from them is what it's doing. Is being repelled from them. And it's walking straight through the fourth dimension without them because they can't pass through. Remember when I said that they can't pass through the fourth dimension, right? But the strength is the angel of strength. So it's going to pass through the fourth dimension regardless if they like it or not. Yeah, exactly. And there it is. Because the strength is the one that was making sure that they didn't pass through the fourth dimension. But now the strength is covering it up. See how they intermingled with the... Yeah. But now the strength is closing the door behind. Yeah. It's closing the door behind. That's it. There's no more strength within that scenario situation. That's it. Unfortunately, I've been fucked over a little too many times in a span of a week or two. A little one too many times. It was enough. 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 Yeah, cycle complete. All right, you guys. That's about it within that situation scenario. Let's see. Let's see what else is going on real quick so we can move on. Okay, let's see how this is gonna, yeah, strategy in reverse. So now there's no strategy within a circumstance situation, right? Aid is now here. Robbery in reverse. They couldn't steal aid, charity, mercy, kindness. They couldn't, yeah, they couldn't steal that. They couldn't steal that. Wow. That's so fucked up. It's like these motherfuckers know nothing about my father. These idiots know nothing about my father. They literally have no idea. They don't know anything about my father. Something happened, didn't it? It's overloading the systems. Yeah, death right there. Overload and death. Period. Yeah. Whatever they thought was going on for them, as if that they were happily having a daydream or something like that, as if that they're gonna, whatever it is that they thought that they were seeing for themselves was actually happening for me. Whatever it is that they thought, see, collective, online community, daydream, whatever it is, look, optimism, illusion, yeah. Remember when I said optic? Look at optimism and illusion and delirium there. Whatever it is that they thought was happening for them was actually happening for them. So they couldn't walk a day in my shoes. They quite literally couldn't even walk an hour in my shoes. They couldn't even walk, I won't exaggerate and say an hour. They couldn't even walk 8 hours in my shoes. They couldn't even walk 8 hours in my shoes. See, imagination, fantasy, look, relaxation. They couldn't relax without their imagination. They couldn't relax without it. You know, it's like, for example, that's the whole lesson for them, I guess. It's like where people are really, really cold, right? And they start picturing like a warm fire to heat themselves up, right? And they actually start getting hot because they're subconsciously forcing themselves to enable their, you know what I mean, stimulate their their mind and neurology in order to perceive warmth in a situation where it's cold, right? So we're in a situation where it's actually super harsh, there's still the ability to perceive warmth, right? You know what I mean? Perceive ease, right? Perceive some sort of silver lining. They couldn't do it without their imagination. Whereas I never really, whereas I was already in it. I'm one of the main pillars as to why that even exists. As in, like, if I'm out of that energy, everyone is. You see what I'm saying? If I'm in a circumstance situation where I'm genuinely uncomfortable and shit like that, and I can't put myself in the energy of being comfortable again, then everyone is going to be uncomfortable. Because that's Empress energy. That's pillar. I'm a pillar of heaven and earth, whether you like it or not. See, this is where they're like, this is where, look at this. That's what it is. They think, see, comfortable. They think that there's some sort of necessity, some sort of contract, vow, worship, wish. They think that this is something that, yeah, it's not a wish. It's not that, it's not an I wish. It's actually me. Yeah. Comfortable. See, it's actually me. Yeah. Like, there's no compromise. There's no conflict. There's no pride. See, it's a natural disaster for them. Why? Because they're not in my energy. They can't be in my energy. They're being kicked out of my energy. But it's not like the natural disaster didn't exist. It was already there. The only reason that there was comfort and ease in the situation is because God let them perceive it for themselves in my energy. Now they can't perceive it for themselves, nor can they perceive it in my energy. Because I'm cloaked now. Self-love. Because I'm cloaked now. There's the marionette energy. You see what I'm saying? The self-love is here, but they're busy being marionetted. You see what I'm saying? And then there's my blessings. My blessings are already here. And they're trying to make it seem as if my blessing is to like move them around like some sort of devil or some shit like that. I'm not interested. I'm not. Yeah, look at that. Discrimination, domination, dictatorship, reluctance, and bullying. They were supposed to be reluctant to being a bully. They were supposed to be reluctant to being a bully, but they wanted to move around the reluctance however they wanted, thinking that they could control pride, thinking that they could control their arrogance, thinking that they could control themselves, thinking that they could control everything, right? So what happened? They ended up marionetting themselves, being a puppeteer to their own reluctance, being a puppet to their own reluctance. They couldn't control their power, so their power went away. It's not about dominating. Yeah, gift in reverse. They never had it. The power was never for them. They forget. The angels, the power doesn't work for them. It works for God. They don't want to accept that. It's the same way someone was like trying to like be like, if you're going to be representing then you can't be wearing that lipstick or can't be wearing that makeup. I was like, I'm actually representing my culture. So are you saying I can't represent my culture? That I have to give up my culture like for your progress when it's our progress type energy? And no, that's not what I'm trying to say. No, but you were prepared to say that though. That was the whole point, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, that's like, they can't try and like make it seem as if they can't defend themselves anymore. That's one thing for sure. Those their agendas within, yeah, their agendas to utilize prayer, religion, donation, their agenda to deprioritize prayer, religion, and donation, deprioritize libation, has been caught. That there's multiple individuals with an agenda to deprioritize libation, and libation comes in many forms, right? Libation is a power, right? It's a principle actually that comes in many forms. Excuse me. So libation, a pouring. You see what I'm talking? A pouring, drink offering, to pour out, a liquid as an offering, taste, sip, dedicate, to pour, flow. A libation meant the ritual pouring out of wine, oil, water, or blood as an offering to a deity, spirit, or the dead. As principle, libation means acknowledgement, recognizing the divine, ancestors, or unseen forces. Exchange, giving back a portion of what sustains us to sustain relationship with spirit. Keeping energy circulating, not hoarded. Abundance moves when it is poured. Sanctification, an act that transforms an ordinary drink into sacred connection. The principle of libation is about reverent offering, circulation of blessing, and communion across realms. So we got Archangel Raphael governs healing and restorative waters. Libation often uses water or wine as a medium for healing and renewal, so Raphael resonates with libation as medicine. Archangel Gabriel, linked to messages in rivers, streams of divine communication. A libation is a message offering poured out from out to heaven and earth, and that's what it is. That's who they were trying to abuse, Archangel Gabriel, right there, specifically for the guy that fucked me over today. Archangel Uriel, keeper of wisdom and earth's offerings, libation, wine, oil, grain, water, comes from earth's abundance, which Uriel protects and distributes. In principle, there it is. Gabriel allows for the supply, the flow, message carried and pouring. And then, yeah, Uriel, which I said I was going to get to that, right? Uriel guards the substance, the provision of earth's abundance. You see what I'm saying? Raphael empowers the effect, the healing or blessing released by the act, right? So Archangel Raphael was probably the one that was attempting to help me teach me how to like cut the broccoli properly so that then it would allow for the healing effects to occur for those that would eat it, right? And what you call it? But they wanted to act like they were the god of Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Uriel, completely attempting to dismiss also Archangel Raphael's power. His power, which are multiple angels that he oversees. Because like I said, it's a principle. They really thought that they were God. I shit you not. Like I said, it's on some schizo shit. Yeah, calm is here. Inner peace, simplicity, and meditation. Yeah, thank you, Allah. I'm glad. No, because I literally just got. Thank you. I don't even know what to say. Thank you, God, because it's like this is all I've been trying to show you guys, express to you guys how simple it really is, and how like. So next time I do a reading for you guys, I'm not gonna go through the same fuck shit. Okay, I'm just gonna pull out the cards. Y'all already know. But I'm just going to pull out the cards. Okay? Because this is my confirmation. This is my next stage. This is my next step. 7, 8. This is exactly what it is that I was trying to talk about. I'm more focused on the form now. Not the function. The form. Okay? So see, withdrawal. Awakening. Yeah. Awakening. Reject. Quit. Yeah. And then promise in reverse. Quit. Not. Yeah, quit. Okay. So okay, so there it is. Okay. So here's the final act, right? One of the final acts, right? One of the final acts of this chapter, right? One of the final acts of this chapter is basically I wonder how the next steps are going to be taken. Yes. Oh, I found a couple other cards. I wonder how the next steps are going to be taken. Maybe that's what it is. I wonder how the next steps are going to be taken. I wonder how the next steps are going to be taken. Yeah. Devil crushed, turned into heartbreak, and now that's being alchemized. I wonder how the next steps are going to be taken. Oh. So I'm not really wondering, right? Yeah. So that's not the I don't know. Okay. First of all, I wonder how the next steps are going to be taken. I wonder how the next steps are going to be taken. The devil was crushed. There's heartbreak. And then I wonder what the next steps are going to be taken. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Alchemy given to God. Perfect. Yeah. There's the messenger. And then there's the gift. And now that's being uncovered by God and then given to God. And then there's protection coming from God. And then what else? Yeah. And judgment is being exposed. Judgment in reverse. Yeah. The treachery is being exposed. Yup. There it is. Treachery is being exposed. Stop. Look at that. Okay, so they were thinking about replacing steps with investments or something. Yeah. Advancement. They thought that they were going to take away advancement, development, Advancement and development. Yes, they thought that they were going to take advancement and development. Yep, and now the heartbreak is also being returned back to sender. So I didn't even know that that was going to happen. See what I'm saying? I didn't even know how that was going to happen up until now that I'm realizing it's happening. 144. It's happening thanks to God, due to God. Yeah, look at how the devil tried to come out. It's due to God. Look at them. They want to act like it's because, yeah, exactly. Look, Archangel Michael's coming in with the security. Security! Yeah. Yeah. I kid you not. You see what I'm saying? See? Nothing not anything that could be or couldn't be could ever or couldn't ever really could ever belong to the devil. Anything that could be or couldn't be could never belong to the devil. Do you understand? Anything that could and couldn't be couldn't ever belong to the devil. Anything that could and couldn't be could never belong to the devil. Anything that could or couldn't be couldn't ever belong to the devil. See? It doesn't, no matter what. No matter what, now it's trapped. There it is. So, the moon energy, and then this, yeah, there it is. Whatever agenda that was, yeah, that was causing this harmony, yep, is over. Yep, is over. Yeah. Whatever agenda it was, it's over. That's the agenda. So the journey is being taken away. So the agenda falls. There is no way to get to the agenda, and there's no way to get out of the agenda. The journey goes to God. Yeah. Well, that's it. The journey goes to God. Yeah. The journey goes to God. It's literally, it's like an achievement, right? I wonder how the journey or any journey can be an achievement, right? I wonder, because it takes fulfilling a purpose with freedom to do so, to manifest a journey, an adventure, the power to make the best adventure, the one who can make the best adventure, and the best adventures goes to God. That's the end. Yep, that's the end. The best adventures are always in God's name. Yep, that's it. Yep, that's it. There we go. Now the freedom is forever liberated with God. Yeah, they can't do shit. They can't do shit. And that's it. Yep. Ooh. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Thank you, God, for Archangel Michael. Yeah, the best journeys belong to God. Yeah. And then Jesus appears. Ah! He just pops out of nowhere. Oh shit! He really just came out of nowhere. He just popped out. He just came out of nowhere. He knows. It's like Jesus knows. Hey, Jesus knows. That's what's coming through. Yeah, Jesus knows. I don't know what kind of message that really means. What does that really mean? Jesus knows. Jesus wept, right? And Jesus wept energy, but it's more like Jesus knows. It's giving like, ooh, I'm gonna tell God, and it's like, did you hear? Jesus found out. Jesus knows. Jesus knows. How long has Jesus known? Yeah, that's what it's giving. How long has Jesus known? Jesus been know. Jesus has always been in the knowing. Yeah, there it is. Jesus has always been in the knowing. Yep. Jesus has always been in the know. In the know. Yeah. In the KNOW. In the know. Познание. Знание. Wait. Jesus has always been an authority. Oh, snap. Snap. Oh. Oh, the Lord is thy shepherd. The Lord is thy what's that word again? I'm always forgetting that word. I'm not used to using it. The Lord is thy, wait, let me see. Thy refuge. God is thy refuge. That's what it is. The Lord is thy habitation. Yeah, the Lord is thy habitation. God is thy refuge. That's what it is. God is thy refuge. Yup, and now we're moving. Yeah. Yup. Oh, God. The angels are being swiftly moving through that energy and catching the thief. Yup, the thief attempting to, yup, and there it is. There's the divination or diviner energy. So divination is to foresee, be inspired by God, divine, the process or principle of perceiving hidden knowledge, a flow of hidden divine orchestration, synchronicity, and patterns. Nature, neutral or sacred in essence, because it is revelation. Glimpsing what already exists in the fabric of reality can be understood as quantum flux knowing. Perceiving ripples and possibilities, the orchestration already at play. The divine, not the human, is commanding force here. Whereas diviner, narrowed to one who practices divination, meaning a human intermediary who uses or claims to use divination to obtain answers. Risk. A diviner can attempt to control, monetize, or manipulate the process. This can create harm because the flow of divination is no longer surrendered to the divine, or is seemingly no longer surrendered to the divine, or seemingly could ever be not in divine orchestration, right? But filtered through by human will, ego, or even deception. The danger lies in divination itself, but who handles it and why, which is the problem because it's not actually happening. A diviner is someone who attempts to use, or someone who has been in the, like, oh, don't worry, it's gonna pop out. I'm actually gonna grab these cards right here. Oh, they're moving. And I'm gonna find the energy. So principle of perception, whereas a diviner is a person assuming authority over that principle, and there you go. So basically that's it. That's basically all it is. So witch in reverse, first of all, they can't do that to me, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. That person or those individuals assuming that they can control the principle. So this, and so the energy, Four of Wands with the Three of Pentacles energy here is the principle, right? That would be, I'm guessing, Archangel Uriel, right? So that might be Archangel Uriel or Archangel Gabriel or Archangel Raphael in a situation. Yeah, I think that might be Archangel Uriel, right? And the individual is assuming that they have possession over the principle when the principle is God's. You see what I mean? Yeah. See, they're trying to, yeah, false guardian. Look at this. Claims to protect, but actually confides and limits. Leviticus 19:11, Colossians 3:9, Surah 22:30, Manusmriti 4:138 for speech. You see what I'm saying? They're literally, they're, yeah, that's what they are. Silent partner persona influences outcomes without visible involvement. There you go. So they try to act like they're not attempting to enact some sort of false principle or principality. They're attempting to act as if they're not trying to enact principality. There it is, prideful, demonic. Disrupts tendency in an attempt to abuse incremental shit. There it goes. Arrogant beyond circumstances. Proverbs 16:18, James 4:6, Surah 16:23, Bhagavad Gita 16:4, evil acts, 3 of mind. Okay, so Christ is disrupted market. There you go. They thought that they thought that would work. Key forger persona creates false access points to lure people into traps. Right, snare maker persona creates dilemmas where every choice seems to benefit them. So now it's all coming out. Oh, how my eyes got purified. Look, diviner in reverse. Literally. Thank you, God. This was actually a part of the promise, wasn't it? Yeah. Exhibiting hysteria to declare distraction, clinging to false signs of confirmation, diviner. So it was just a flash, right? So Deuteronomy 18:10 through 12, Numbers 22:7, Ezekiel 21:21, Zechariah 10:2, Acts 16:16 through 18, Surah 5:90, 6:50, Arthara Veda 4:5:6, 10 evil acts for speech. There it is. So exhibiting hysteria to declare distraction, clinging to false signs of confirmation. So now we can really see what that energy is, right? So they are attempting to stake claim to data and information that might be seemingly convincing only to them, but they want to project it towards others as convincing of a distraction. They want to convince others something is a distraction by exhibiting some sort of hysteria. You see what I'm saying? They want to, that's what it is. So they literally go around and make up any kind of sign or try to act as if that some things are signs specifically targeting the confirmation that would be to cover up the falseness within the matter, to make seem as if things are confirmed as convicted. That's what it is, conviction. So they are enemies of conviction, enemies of boldness, and enemies of conviction. So that's what it is. They attempt to discriminate against conviction and attempt to demonize conviction. So act of proven guilty, prove demonstration, overcoming an argument, approving, refuting demonstration, right? Demonstration, important, right? To overcome, refute, prove guilty, together, thoroughly, to conquer, overcome, right? So basically, etymologically, it's conviction, right? To be thoroughly conquered by proof. To be thoroughly conquered by proof, right? And proof in this situation and scenario would be Allah, God himself. So, yeah. Yeah. So a miracle just occurred. Yeah. A miracle just occurred. So, yeah. I don't even think I have to read this. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. To be thoroughly conquered by proof. They were in denial of conviction. Yeah, they were in the denial of conviction. Yep. They were in denial of the conviction. Yep, they were in denial of the conviction. Yep. Here, I'll explain. I'll do it, actually. So, since conviction means being thoroughly conquered by the truth, by proof or inner truth, right? To be in denial of conviction is to encounter truth, inner or external, feel its weight or resonance in the conscious, but then actively resist it, rejecting or suppressing what has already been pierced through. It's not ignorance, not knowing, right? Not knowing in parentheses, sorry. It's not ignorance, not knowing, right? But a refusal of what is known, right? So denial of conviction creates a split within the psyche. Cognitive dissonance, the mind holding two opposite realities, the truth and the rejected truth. This burns mental energy. Anxiety and unrest, right? Because conviction presses gently but persistently. Numbness or callousness. To silence conviction, the person may suppress sensitivity altogether, becoming emotionally blunted. Projection. They may accuse others or blame circumstances to shift away from inner responsibility. Over time, this denial can create inner hardening, almost like a scar tissue around the conscious. Environmental and relational effects. Denial of conviction doesn't just stay inside, it radiates outward. Tension in relationships, because others may feel the suppressed truth pressing through in defensiveness, anger, or avoidance. Toxic atmosphere. When one denies what's true, they may unconsciously distort group dynamics to keep others from naming it. Stagnation. In communities, denial blocks growth. Conviction is a catalyst for movement. Denying it creates paralysis. Rippling harm. A leader who refuses conviction may normalize injustice, setting an environment where others suppress their own inner truth. And let's go through an analogy by water. Hey, let's go. Conviction is like a spring forcing its way up and through rock. If a person denies it, they keep slapping on lids they keep slapping on lids and stones to block it. The pressure builds, cracks form in their mental emotional landscape. When denied too long, the water finds crooked paths seeping into places it doesn't belong, eroding the environment around them. If embraced, the spring flows openly, nourishing them and those nearby. Essence, conviction, truth that conquers the heart. Denial of conviction, resisting that truth, creates inner conflict, mental exhaustion, and environmental distortion. Alignment with conviction releases clarity, healing, and communal growth. Now you see why I'm doing this? Talk. So now that that's done, there it is. There it is, the test for conviction. And now the ancestors are there, right? So now they understand, the ancestors here understand that that pain that they're feeling, right? And the pain that we're feeling, the heartbreak we're feeling from the ancestors, from collective, from all of us here, from God that we're feeling is in fact to show that our hearts genuinely aren't hardened. They aren't hardened because what we're meant to show is conviction, the flow and resonance of spirit through our heart from purity. So now we're evolving. I guess that's it. Yeah, because there it is. They were attacking Archangel Gabriel. Yeah. That's Archangel Gabriel energy. Yep. Oh, wow. But that's also Archangel Gabriel's power. So they wanted to use gentleness as a weapon against conviction. Conviction is sharp like a sword. It cuts through excuses, defenses, illusion. It demands response, humility, change, or acceptance. When gentleness is misused, it can dull the edge of truth, soothing over what needs to be cut open, like saying it's okay, there's no need to change, becomes a balm that numbs the sting of truth. Over accommodation, instead of letting conviction pierce, excessive gentleness shields the person from discomfort. Soft denial, using calm tones and careful words not to heal but to diffuse conviction's urgency. In a way, gentleness doesn't become true kindness, it becomes a shield against transformation. So that's what it is. They were attempting to force there to not be a transformation within a circumstance, a situation. So they were an enemy against transformation. There you go. So they were an enemy against transformation, change. Yeah, exactly. There it is. Enlightenment, what that energy really is for. So the Five of Pentacles in this scenario is so that that's as far as money can get you, is Five of Pentacles energy. The proper response to do is to change within the Five of Pentacles energy. And change within the scenario has to do with also allowing for movement, flow, and circulation. Yeah, Ten of Swords in reverse. Yeah, there it is. See, because Ten of Pentacles, I get it. So more so that there was, so they didn't expect there to be, yeah, that they didn't expect eloquence, elegance, grace. They didn't expect grace. Like I said, by the grace of God, by the grace of Allah. They didn't expect there to be grace. You see, they didn't expect it. Astaghfirullah. They don't know who God is. Period. I'm over it. See, there it is. Change. Because I don't have to carry the burdens. It's not my burden to carry. Yeah. 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 They were trying to pretend to be sent from. They were trying to pretend to be transformative. No. The devil energy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they wanted to pretend to be a healer. Like they were healing some aspect. I said that they could provide some sense of healing. I said that there was a commotion that they had to heal within a circumstance. Yeah, that's what it is. As if that they were the healer within a commotion, or that they were able to, yeah, someone lied like on their resume type shit. Someone lied on their resume type shit. It's like when somebody asks, oh, like when you were in some sort of trouble or something like that, right? What did you do within the scenario to be able to diffuse, see power of diffusion, to diffuse the situation? Someone straight up lied. Yeah, they lied. Period. Look, they straight up lied. They wanted to make it seem as if, yeah, someone lied about their ability to diffuse. Yeah, they straight up lied. Yeah, there it is. The real energy that's free here is the masculine form that was actually supposed to be approached, like the actual person, like exactly, the power is, yeah, exactly, the power is now transforming, everything is returning to God, right? Period. Exactly. The energy whom it belongs to is returning to whom it belongs to. Possession. See, they wanted to have power over possession. That's really what it is. And I'm not talking about like, yeah, they wanted to have power over possession. It's like they wanted to have power over the coordination, the direction of one's possessions. Like for example, if I'm like transporting, yeah, like if I'm someone, it's like Oh man. It's like if I'm supplying someone with something, right? And I'm sending out like my merchandise, right? Yeah. It's like if I was giving away my merchandise and then I, I mean, got to UPS and da 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 or like USPS or whatever the hell, right? And or the postal services, and I provided them with everything that they needed. It's like somebody wanted to like pretend to be the driver of the truck that would drive my merchandise and then steal it. You see what I'm talking about? That's what the main thing was to do. Exactly. Now whatever delight it is that they thought that they were gonna lie about to make it seem as if that they were the ones that were like Archangel Uriel in the situation. Yeah. They wanted to make it seem like they were the ones that was they really wanted to make it seem like they were Archangel Uriel. Like they were the principal of the situation. Yeah, now they're caught. They're caught. And the journey is returning to whom it belongs to. Yeah. All of the energies are now like properly balancing out. Yeah. That's it, you guys. Wow. What a reading. Let's get some advice cards because I feel like we could do this all day and night, honey. And rebuke any dark energies. Send them right back to sender tenfold. And may they never come here again. Okay. So get weird and get prayerful. Yeah. Bismillah. Thank God. Thank God. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, angels. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Yeah, get classy. Yeah. Thank you, divine. Thank you. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, God. Bismillah. Yeah, Bismillah. Thank you, God. Yeah, get serious. That happened. So, yeah, get balanced and get playful. All right, you guys. I'll see you guys in the next reading. All right. Bye.